So I had a little bit of an idea, and I thought to myself, if we really can't get a corner in the next 2 days, what can we really do? You have a secondary that's can really play better with a good pass rush, right? Like we did last year. So now I'm thinking, teams by the trade deadline are not going to give up a good corner or even a mid-tier corner for pretty good compensation that we can actually give them. But if you think we're going to get a good corner for a 4th-round pick, nope. I honestly think that this team is going to brush away from the trade rumors of getting a corner. And I think if I was Howie Roseman today, if I was him and I was about to make some moves, the one move that I would make, other than wide receiver and running back, the other move that I would make, beef up that defensive line. Sounds like a good idea. You can beef up this defensive line because Haloti Ngata, he played this morning against the Jaguars. Didn't look great. Tavs really doesn't have much juice left. They really need to add another piece. Now, I know Timmy Jernigan could be active, could be activated, but the Eagles have not done that yet, and I don't know why. You add a defensive tackle to this group with the DNs that are already pretty deep, you could do some damage. I'm not talking about a high name like Donnery Poe or, some high name like Shelton Richardson or, something like that. I'm talking about little names. I'm talking about guys like you take a guy, you look at a guy off a roster and say, hey, this guy could bring pressure. He doesn't necessarily have to get the numbers. Doesn't necessarily have to get the sacks because with a 4-3 defense in the trenches, it does not mean you have to get sacks. It's nice to get them, but you're helping the other D linemen on that line to break up and get those, get those pressures on the quarterback. Now, you can go after a mid-tier name. Like Timmy Jernigan was a mid-tier name, and he earned his extension, last year because he totally demolished whoever was in front of him for the first 5-6 games, and to start off with Kirk Cousins. You go get a mid-tier guy to do some work, get on this D-line, you can mask this secondary. Now, I know it's not the worst secondary in the world, but Rasul Douglas came in. I think he should play safety. Rasul Douglas could play safety. I don't think he should play outside, but hey, he played outside all right. He got beat a little bit today. Dexter McDougal has got to go, and the only reason why he's in at the nickel corner is because Sidney Jones is out. Last year, our pressure was so good, our corners didn't have to do much work. Now, with a beat-up defensive line right now, with not much room at the defensive tackle position, you have options to go out there and do those little bit of signings. Don't worry about next year. Don't worry about the money next year because the Eagles are going to free up a lot of cap space. They're probably going to free up at least probably $30 million in cap space next year. I would not doubt they're going to have $30 million to spend by free agency. And I'm not saying they're going to go crazy in free agency, but they might sign a few names. Maybe one big name and those little signings that how we did last year. The little signings, the little bit, the signings on the D-line, a little bit of depth here, a little bit of depth here. Those little signings turn into a huge factor. This is why we won the Super Bowl. We won the Super Bowl because we had those guys in place. We had guys that learned multiple positions. So you go get a defensive tackle that's going to wreak some havoc next to Fletcher Cox and have the depth behind it because we have that, Tre'Davious Hester, whatever his name is, and he's off the practice squad, Bruce Hector off the practice squad. Are those two really going to do anything next to Fletcher Cox? Probably not. They haven't done a thing. They didn't even do a thing in this game they played this morning against the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. So I'm saying this. You go get a defensive tackle and make some moves on that part of the bargain. If you can't get a corner, because I know it is going to be hard to get a corner at the trade deadline because teams are ready to fleece you for everything you've got. Draft picks, everything. So go after a mid-tier defensive tackle if you can't get a corner. Hey, if they get a corner, good. If they can get a nickel corner, I'll be happy because nickel spot or an outside, whatever the hell they want to do, it is what it is. Between the Patrick Peterson staying in Arizona now and Gareon Conley, I understand that he's on the Raiders. He's not going to make a major impact when he first gets here. If Gareon Conley does get signed, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't think it's going to be like he's going to start shutting people down. He's a young guy at 23 years old, and he's got a lot of football ahead of him, and he's on a cheap contract right now. So you have options, but if I can't get a corner, you're beefing up that defensive line, and you're going to get some pressure on the quarterback even more. Because I'm seeing the pressure now, and it's very, when I see the pressure, it's not 4 guys closing in on the quarterback. It barely happens. Last year it was happening a lot when 4 guys are literally making a V shape, getting both sides of the quarterback, and even the middle is not wide open. This year, the middle is wide open. Guys are getting blocked. Some guys are getting through, but it's not enough. So the corners are going to have more work to cover and do a lot of things. This is why we're getting beat deep. This is why Jalen Mills is getting exposed. This is why Ronald Darby hasn't playing well, and he's on a contract year. So there are plenty of options for the Eagles to go. So if I was Howie Roseman and I can't get a corner at this trade deadline, beef up that defensive line. Just sign one guy. One guy that you know is going to get pressure. One guy that we're all going to be like, oh, this guy's going to actually do well. When Timmy Jernigan got signed last year, we all know he was going to do well. He had the most QB pressures for the Baltimore Ravens when he was there. And look what he did with the Eagles. He shared that with the rest of the team, with the rest of the defensive line, and they just went off on a streak. So that's all I really got to say about this. So what do you guys think of my idea about drafting, about signing a mid-tier defensive tackle? Even you can get a defensive tackle and it's, between 28 to 30, and, there might be a team that might not want him anymore, that wants to get a contract off at not too expensive. I'm not saying waste a whole contract. Like I said, if you can get a big name for cheap, good. If you can't, then get a guy like a Timmy Jernigan, like someone like a mid-tier D tackle that could do something and get something done. Because Derek Barnett not being here, it's hurting a little bit. Michael Bennett's moving to D tackle sometimes, depending on matchups. And, that's good at least. But let me know what you guys think about my idea of that. And we'll get, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So leave a comment in the comment section. So, I'm going to say now, Shake Squad up. Fly, let's fly.